finally, guys, I want to talk about a story which just continues to fascinate everybody, and that is Bud Light, and how everybody has finally discovered that it is indeed a terrible beer. But Anheuser-Busch, the company, the brew's parent company, is in the midst of a crisis, and HSBC analysts from the bank have downgraded the company's stock following the outcry over that whole thing with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Annalise, what are your thoughts on this? I've never seen a public protest against a brand go so far and be as successful as this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it just really hit a nerve. I think this has been building up for a while. I listened to that full podcast with the VP of marketing at Bud Light, who ended up taking the fall for it, that Alyssa. And it was interesting. There was a lot to it. And I think the takeaways I took from listening to the full interview was, firstly, she said that she picked up a brand that was in decline and dying. That's not generally what you ever want an employee saying if you're in a company when they're out there. So I think that was probably noticed at board level. But also she said that the only way to survive was to find new consumers and be diverse and inclusive. And in doing that, she was extremely exclusive of her core brand. And I think that's really kind of, when you think about where we are now, that's what I think it's like a lot of the problem with the Republican Party. They're kind of just going after this one really cool, elusive thing and forgetting what their normal base is. And this is why they keep tripping themselves up. I know it's a bit of a tangential link to draw, but I think it's just kind of indicative of how polarized everything is at the moment. We're all grabbing for people that are never going to like us anyway.
Well, that's actually a really fascinating analysis, Annalise, and I suspect maybe there are some people in the Australian Liberal Party who could take a little bit of wisdom from that as well. But Diana, do you think that this is going to be a broader wake-up call for other companies that are thinking of getting out of their lane and going down this political route when people just want to have a beer and not have politics shoved, or in this case poured, down their throat?
It could be. And I think in the Bud Light example, it was just very prominent, the free fall that happened, because they just completely missed the mark on who their core audience is. Like you say, people that just want to have a beer, that don't want to think about transgender activists. And Dylan Mulvaney, the activist that was featured on the beer can, is not just a random activist. Dylan Mulvaney was at the White House talking to President Joe Biden about sex change treatments and hormone treatments for everyone, including minors. And Biden agreed with Dylan Mulvaney in saying that there should be no legislation on transgender surgeries, even for minors. So it's just such a prominent person to be featured on a beer can was such a political statement that I think the American people, the consumers of Bud Light, just said, we can't have this anymore. We just want to not think about anything political sometimes.